Yeah, I just want to do a quick video, it's a bit more random, I'm just talking about Joe Calzaghe, all right? Now, let me tell you this, as I said, I titled the video, undervalued, underrated, and clean, especially the clean bit, yeah? If there's one guy in the entire modern boxing community that was clean, it was Joe Calzaghe. Yeah, you can see by his body. Could he have done better? Yes, I believe so. I believe his dad was a bit stuck in the past when it came to nutrition. I'm not saying skill wise, because Joe was, and also it's great. Joe had a special, he had a special link. He had a special communication with his dad, so that's cool. But Joe Calzaghe knew nothing about nutrition. Yeah, he could, he probably ate like potatoes and stuff. Instead of being fed muscle building food, he's obviously didn't do PDs, which I think is great. You can see it, man. When you look at his Joe Calzaghe's physique compared to, say, the guys he fought, like especially Roy Jones. Roy Jones failed a drug test, by the way. If there's anyone clearer that PD'd throughout their entire career, is Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. And I followed Roy Jones from the 1988 Olympics. And I was like, this guy's super. And he was. Sometimes I thought he couldn't lose, but he definitely juiced hard. If anybody doubts that, well, apart from the fact he failed a test, which is meaningless because it's actually quite rare to fail a test. His opponent failed a test too. But the point is, a guy like Calzaghe, they're training in the Welsh hills, in a shack, with poor nutrition. He was still unbeaten. He didn't like flying, which was a weird one. This caused a few problems with his career, but more than that. So I remember watching him in the amateurs and the ABAs, and he was knocking everyone out. Glenn Catley, future world champion. Jesse Matthews, future world champion. Dean Francis, a super fighter. He stopped all these guys in 3 rounds. All right? I know people in the game, respected guys that know a lot about boxing, and one of them said to me, I've never seen a guy hit as hard as Joe Calzaghe. But, he had too many injuries. Why? Because, well, it's partially to do with, genetics. It's partially to do with the fact that his nutrition wasn't good. He wasn't taking enough calcium. He wasn't taking enough muscle-building foods. And obviously no PEDs. And, he had bad elbow injuries and hand injuries, And that's why people call him a slapper, because he was slapping, because if he hit them on the chin with his knuckles, he smashed the knuckles up and bashed up his elbows. So he had to look after that thing, all right? I think had he been given modern nutrition, training, PEDs, he will be the best ever. He'll be the best ever, really. It's just, people say, oh, no, you don't want to talk about Triple B. Well, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. I've had people in the business for years say, I've never seen a man hit so hard. I've never seen a guy with so much skill. Okay? And you mentioned the difference between being juiced and not being juiced. Okay? So, a Triple B, for 3 months, took Dianabol. Okay? And the difference it made to my lifting, to my strength, to my power, Yeah. The problem was I got roid rage. And it made me go a bit nuts. But what I'm saying is, you got to understand the difference that PEDs will make to you. It's like 30%, 30%. When you're at the top level, right, the difference between being number 1 and number 2 is about 0.1%. So imagine how much difference 30% will make. And this is what I'm saying about Joe. He was, without a doubt, a clean fighter. And to his detriment, he didn't have the nutrition. That's why he was always hurting himself. Like he was training in a shack by his old man. But, that's cool to me. Yeah, I'm glad he has a good relationship with his old man. You get me? But Calzaghe, underperformed, which sounds nuts because he's 46-0. Okay, 46 wins. People say he lost to Robin Reed. Robin Reed really performed very well actually in that fight, and Calzaghe couldn't even spar. He had so many injuries he couldn't even spar. I mean, that's a major disadvantage. Okay. And, under normal circumstances, I believe Calzaghe would have destroyed Robin Reed. But, he just, I don't know, just the way he was trained in a shack, the nutritional lack of PEDs, a lack of medicinal advantages meant that he, was 20% behind these guys. When in reality, he would have destroyed them, So, it doesn't matter really. Ultimately, Calzaghe retired with a 46-0 record. And loads of cares. I can't remember how many. But my belief is that, yeah, he could have done way better. Because he was exceptionally talented. He could hit super hard. But he couldn't in the pros. In the early pros, if you watch the early fights he had in the pros, he was banging all these people out. They even had to put him against cruiserweight, even though he's super middleweight, but just because he was hitting too hard. Okay? But then the injuries happened. So, my belief is Calzaghe is one of the best fighters ever, and he could have been better. And it's a shame in a way, but it's not a shame because, the guy retired undefeated. He made some cash money, all right? You got kids. And it was a bit unfortunate, the whole yayo. I don't know, I can't believe out of anyone Calzaghe would get into yayo, but he did. I don't know what he's doing now, to be honest with you. He doesn't commentate a lot. He's not really often invited to big fights to speak. I think he's a quiet guy. I think he's a nice guy. I think he's a shy guy. Yeah. But yeah, in terms of being a great fighter, yeah, he was a super fighter, really. Probably one of Britain's best ever. No doubt.